But I didn't get into coffee because I love coffee. I got into coffee because it was a vehicle for me to express my values about social change in business. I was a Wall Street lawyer once, but I really wanted to get involved in social change. And I helped co-found a nonprofit organization called Coffee Kids to do development work in third world coffee villages. I noticed that coffee companies would buy coffee from third world farmers and pay them a pittance, and then every now and then they'd give a little money to charity, Coffee Kids, to do some good work in the villages. But they wouldn't change their business practices. And I said to myself, what would this look like if the company that was buying the coffee here simply paid the farmers a fair price for the coffee? What would that look like? Could they be a profitable business and still do good in the world? And so from that, Dean's Beans was born. When I first moved to this area about 18 years ago, I opened up a little coffee shop at the Book Mill in Montague. And then at one point I started roasting my own coffee for the coffee shop. I went out and bought a small used roaster and some bags of coffee for a total investment of $7,000. And people started to come in and say, we'd really love to carry your coffee. It just took off from there. That was 12 and a half years ago, and I haven't looked back. When I started Dean's Beans, it was in a little carriage barn next to my old house in New Salem. We were there for about 7 years until we got so big that we simply couldn't be there. There wasn't enough room. We looked around, and Orange, which was just to the north of us, is one of the highest unemployment towns in the state, and we thought, hey, if our mission is to show up in our highest values no matter what we do, then siting a facility is part of that. So we came to Orange. Coffee is grown around the equator in a thin belt of 30 degrees north and south of the equator around the world. It's a tropical and subtropical plant. It grows on bushes, and actually a coffee bean is the seed of a cherry, a fleshy fruit. The farmer picks the cherry and they shred away the fruit, and the two coffee beans are nestled together in it. They dry them, they fall apart, and that's what they send to us. That's the coffee bean. We then take it and roast it into different levels of roasting here, but it starts with the picking of a cherry in 50 countries around the world. Coffee is a commodity, which means it's traded on a market price that's figured out in the stock market in New York. So that has nothing to do with the cost of a farmer growing it. And so fair trade tries to determine what's a reasonable price for coffee that the farmers need to live a good life. And that becomes the minimum. We have profit sharing for all our employees. We want to have profit sharing for all the farmers as well. So we have the highest priced fair trade coffee in the country. And it's very, very important for keeping farming viable in those communities. About once a month, a container truck pulls up carrying 40,000 pounds of green unroasted coffee at our door. We then take those bags and put them in bins. Now we go over to the other side of the bins and we draw out from the bins what we need per roast.
Right here we have a 24-kilo coffee roaster. It comes out to about 45 pounds when you finish roasting the coffee. Right here we have our Peruvian beans that are finished. This is a light roasted, very mellow blend of coffee.
We can crank out about 1,500 pounds of coffee a day, and right now we're producing about 7,000 pounds of coffee a week. We pack it, ship it, and away it goes to the customer, and basically from ordering it to receiving it is an overnight operation. So that's very important because freshness is a key to good coffee and one of the keys to our success. We're a quiet little company. We don't have advertising and marketing. We simply don't do that. We pretty much sell by word of mouth, and we have for over 12 years. And we're in about 90 Whole Foods around the country. We're in food co-ops all over the country. We're in small cafes all over the country. And now about 20% of our business is web sales. So we're growing somewhere between 20 and 25% a year for the last 5 years, all based on a word-of-mouth model. People ask us why we don't want to grow and become a $10 million operation overnight. We simply don't believe in that around here. We've got a very comfortable place. Everybody here has profit sharing and retirement benefits. Everybody here has full health care with no deductibles at the doctor's office. And I'm afraid that too rapid growth could destroy that. We're more interested in the quality of life here than the quantity of life. Who needs another boat, another fancy car? You know, we have a good life, and we know when enough is enough. The point of Dean's Beans was to model that a for-profit business could be profitable and still address social and economic issues in its sector. And we've proven that you can. For the last 12 years, we've been highly profitable. We pay more money to the farmers than any other coffee company. We charge less to the consumers than any other coffee company. We do development projects. We have a really sound ecological program here, and yet we're still profitable. So that model, when we take it to the coffee industry, people in the coffee industry have to say, well, I guess we have to do that too, or why can't we do that? So we're modeling that kind of behavior, and it's having a great impact.